It's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe and hit that bell icon right now. So, are you an asexual who has anxiety, a disability, or health needs? If you are, and you're thinking about going travelling, this video is for you. If you don't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives book, which is out on Amazon. I'm also the author of Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook. Grab a copy of that on Amazon as well. So yes, if you have a disability, a health need, or an anxiety condition, this video is definitely for you. So if you didn't know my background, I do have fibromyalgia, hence why I wrote that book. And fibromyalgia is a chronic pain condition that affects the nerves and muscles of the body. A lot of asexuals tend to have anxiety and they can have disabilities as well. So I think it's very important to know that there's a proportion of asexuals who are disabled or who have mental health difficulties such as anxiety. Some have depression and some have other special needs, health and well-being needs. Now, if you are a single person and you don't have a carer, you might want to go traveling, but you might be like, how do I go traveling if I'm on my own? Because it can be very stressful looking after yourself when you've got the pressure of traveling to different time zones, to different time situations, getting different transportations, getting people to understand you, you understand them, especially if you're going abroad to a foreign country. It can be very, very daunting. Does this mean that you shouldn't do it? No, doesn't mean to say you shouldn't do it, but it's a lot more difficult for someone who's got anxiety condition, who's got disabilities or health needs to go abroad, to go on holiday. And for me personally, it's like a military operation. You know, to be able to take care of myself and have everything I need is like a military operation. Even to go away on a day trip is like a military operation. Can you relate? So, in terms of anxiety comes in different forms. It's different for different people. I have been diagnosed in 2010 with something called GAD, which is generalized anxiety disorder. This is where a person is excessively anxiety induced and they're in like an anxiety induced state pretty much the majority of the time, if not all the time, and their mind never really stops, and it's very difficult to break that programming. It's very difficult to not be anxious. It's like some habitual thing that's been happening in their life for a long, long time, and it has a range of symptoms, and I have pretty much all of them, I think, apart from about one. I did used to have social anxiety, but I've worked really hard to not have that anymore. As in the sense that I can go into a room, I can talk to strangers, I can converse with them. I do, however, still have anxiety before I meet new people sometimes, but before I go out, even meeting people I've already met before. So I can still get anxiety induced in that respect. But actually socializing, I find that much easier now because I've trained myself that way, which took a long time to do. So, as you know, I went to Disneyland Paris just this week. I only got back in the early hours of a few days ago, and I really enjoyed my trip. Having said that, it was very, very stressful for me because I do have an anxiety condition and disability and health needs. I have all of those. And anxiety is a difficulty with mindset, mental health. Fibromyalgia is more physical, it's physical pain. Fibromyalgia is a chronic pain condition that affects the nerves and muscles of the body, but can also cause other issues, which give you other health and well-being needs. And then I have general health and well-being needs, possibly because of fibromyalgia and other times because of anxiety. So one thing is I go to the toilet a lot, which I've been to the hospital to see a specialist about, and it's actually to do with anxiety. So if you bundle them all together, like the mental distress, if you like, that I get, the physical pain that I get, and also you couple that with the issue of needing the toilet as kind of a byproduct of both fibromyalgia and anxiety, I would say, particularly anxiety, then that's a lot to deal with. And so if you are a person who's got disabilities and you're a person who's got health conditions and mental health difficulties as well, I really, really do understand you. I understand where you're coming from. And I'm creating this video to help you to be able to see how I dealt with those things whilst going away to Disneyland Paris. So I booked my holiday for a travel agent, TUI. This is not a product placement. This is just me being honest with where I booked it through. So the reason I booked Disneyland Paris through a travel agency was because I got everything included apart from meals in Disneyland Paris resort. Whereas I worried that if I do it on my own, I might get things wrong. And it's just much better to have peace of mind that a travel agency who's got years of doing this is able to sort it out for you. So rather than you struggling to team a hotel up with a luggage service, it's much better if you just pay someone, a travel agency, to get an all-inclusive package as much as possible for you. I have special dietary requirements and needs, so I didn't have the breakfasts, but they could have incorporated a lot more things such as food into my package, but I didn't want that. I had to take my own food, which is a pain in the ass, but I had to do it. So anyway, I would recommend getting an all-inclusive package as much as possible, depending on your health needs, because you want to make sure that you don't have to worry about something, that something's been left out, or you need to coordinate something yourself. I did, however, have to coordinate the London part of my holiday. So Disneyland Paris I booked through a travel agency, but they told me to sort London out before because I had to have a night in London before I went away to Disneyland Paris and a night afterwards I went to Disneyland Paris. And that was on me. And I had to remember that when I booked the holiday, I booked it for 3 nights and 4 days. So I went from Disneyland, I went from London on this, I stayed in London on the 6th, then went to Disneyland Paris on the 7th, and went from the 7th to the 10th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th to Disneyland Paris. But on the 10th night, I had to book accommodation in London. I almost booked it for the 11th instead, which is the day after, thinking I had 4 days and 4 nights, but it was 4 days and 3 nights. So always take that into consideration of when you're actually arriving and coming back to your destination. And like, when do you actually have to book a hotel for? And at the time I booked my hotel, I'd already booked the main trip to Disneyland Paris. And when I booked it through the travel agency, I made sure that it was the whole 4 days and 3 nights to Disneyland Paris, that I was getting ticket, it's called a Magic Pass. It's here actually. This is it. So to get one of these for the whole time I was there, so this allows me to go in the park for 4 whole days and 3 nights. I say 4 whole days because I didn't get there till like 1 something in the afternoon on the first day, but the park is open till late at night. Like, the firework display doesn't finish till about 11:30. So from 1 till like 11:30 is a lots of hours anyway in the park, you know what I mean? So I got basically an all-inclusive, and this is called a Magic Pass that allows you to go into the park every day, and it also scans for your accommodation. And with the inclusive shuttle bus, I used it on that as well, and I got it when I got my luggage transportation. So in other words, my package included the hotel, which is 3 nights accommodation in the Hotel Santa Fe, which was a hotel on site of the Disneyland Paris. Now, if you are going to Disneyland Paris, I'd highly recommend you do book a hotel on the site. Otherwise, you're going to have transportation problems where you have to transport yourself out of the hotel, out of the park, if you're not staying in a hotel in the park, and then transport yourself back again the next day. It's a lot of hassle, a lot more money because you have to pay for taxis and stuff unless you drive. And if you book a hotel at the park, you actually get an extra hour in the morning if you want to go for the extra hour. There are lots of perks. And when I was at Hotel Santa Fe, I was absolutely pleasantly surprised at how well they cleaned my room. they say that, there's something on there. There's like a notice on there that says, put your towels in the bath. We'll only clean your towels if they're in the bath. But every day that went, I put my towels in the bath, had all fresh towels. They put me new cups in, paper cups, more paper cups in. There was a hairdryer in the room, which wasn't even in the London one, which was really expensive hotel in London. But there was a hairdryer in the hotel, and they would clean around the sink. They clean the bath, clean my stuff for me, make the beds and everything. So in the Hotel Santa Fe, I was absolutely gobsmacked at how good the cleaning was. I mean, you really felt like you had a butler or something like all the time. It was amazing. And so I highly recommend getting all inclusive like that at the Disney hotel, because you don't have the cleaning to worry about and the tidying up after yourself. You've got someone else to do it for you for that period of time, which will really help if you've got disabilities and health needs. The more that you have to worry about, the worse anxiety and disabilities usually get. So the less you have to worry about, the better. So there was cleaning every single day. I got to go in the park straight away. I booked the package to include the shuttle bus, which is free, so backwards and forwards to the hotel. At night I just got the bus back. In the morning I got the bus there. And I also bought luggage service as well. So basically they take your luggage to your hotel when you arrive there, and on the last day you have to pick your luggage up from the luggage service at the hotel, but then you also have to put it back to the luggage service on your last day before 11 a.m. and then they make sure it's at the Eurostar, above the Eurostar, before customs, basically. So, get as much inclusiveness as possible, because the least you have to worry about, the better, especially if you've got anxiety. You do not want to be having extra stuff to worry about. You want things taken care of by other people, so you have less to worry about, so your trip's more enjoyable. So, like I said, I had to make sure that I had arrangements for London. So if you got like anxiety condition, like I have, I need paperwork. I need physical copies. It's not good enough to just have it on my phone. And I'd highly recommend you get, excuse me, physical copies anyway. Because something does go wrong. Say you've got no signal on your phone or your battery dies, you absolutely had it. You've got no way of proving anything. So, and if you go by Eurostar, there's actually paperwork that comes through the travel agency. And if you don't look at it in detail, you don't realise that you've got to download the tickets and print them off directly from the Eurostar site. So you must read it, and because it no longer do they print them out at the station, you have to physically print them out from the website before you go, so you can scan them. So I like to keep physical copies of everything. I think with anxiety condition, it's really imperative that if you want to keep stuff on your phone as well as a backup, as well as a printed copy, that's really good. The more kind of backups you have, the more safe you feel in your mind, the less things you feel that can go wrong, the better, because it gives you that comfort, it gives you that support. And if you have an anxiety condition and you have something like fibromyalgia, like I've got, the more anxiety you have, the more physical pain it causes you, because the more emotional pain, the more physical pain, the more mental pain, the more physical pain. So you need to keep your pain, your anxiety levels down as low as possible. So I had to get, when I arrived in London, I had to get from, first of all, I should say first of all, before I talk about getting to London, I should say that when I booked London up, it was a nightmare, because it was Prince Charles's coronation, and I'd already booked my holiday because I wanted to see the Avengers light drone show. At the end, it was only on till the 8th of May. So I booked from the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th of May to make sure that I had 2 nights watching the Avengers light show at the end. It was like they have got a new Marvel land that I really want to go in because I'm a huge Marvel fan. And they also had this laser show, which I knew ended on the 8th of, did I say March? 8th of May. 8th of May. So I went from the 7th of May to the 10th of May to Disneyland Paris, and now the 14th of May. 2023, this year. This week I was there. So when I came to book the hotel up, I was absolutely shocked because I hadn't watched the news. And when I went on and looked at different sites, it was like fully booked, fully booked, fully booked. There was only 2 travel lodges that weren't fully booked in that area, apart from other accommodation, which was hostels or share a bathroom, which I can't do. If you've got toilet needs as part of a disability, so you go to the toilet a lot, in other words, weak bladder, that type of thing, then you need to be able to have your own ensuite room, right? Not share a bathroom, because you have to rush to the toilet. And so you don't want to be sharing a bathroom. So it's really imperative that you get somewhere, even if it's much more expensive, with a private facilities. Now, if I'd chosen to go outside of King's Cross, like 3.6 miles away, then I could have got a hotel cheaper. But I needed to be in King's Cross to get St Pancras Eurostar the next morning, early morning. So there's no way that I wanted to be 3.6 miles away when anything could have happened. There could have been a train strike, underground suspension or something like that. So you don't want to risk anything like that. So it's better to book accommodation the night before, near where you're actually going to, near where you've got to go to, where it's catching the Eurostar, catching a plane, something like that. So you're already prepared for it. Because if your method of transport is late and then you miss your flight or you miss your Eurostar, then you're going to be in a real panic, right? So make sure that you are spending time in that area sooner rather than later. Get it the night before. And it was a good job I did, because it took me 2 hours to get to the hotel. So what happened was because I was carrying a humongous case on me. I don't know if you've seen the shorts video, but it was a huge case. It was like double the depth of my other one. 85 centimeters high, but it's double the depth. And it was humongous. And I had a really difficult time traveling with that, because it wouldn't really go on the escalators without nearly falling over. And it was really heavy, and it wasn't very well packed. I have to admit that the actual straps wouldn't even go around it. So it's a bad design, because it had an expandable bit which I used, but the straps wouldn't go around it. I've actually took it back for a refund now, because the stitching was coming undone when I came back in the taxi. So from the train station, after being in Disneyland Paris and London. So yeah, I've got a refund on that now, and I'm hoping to take less next time, because it was just a nightmare. And so when I got to London, because King Charles's coronation was on, there was just crowds everywhere, and it was the most expensive hotel. £219.99 for this hotel, travel lodge in the UK. And I thought it was one nearest King's Cross, because it's King's Cross St Pancras, because it said near King's Cross St Pancras, but the other travel lodge they had in that area didn't say it was near St Pancras. But actually, the other travel lodge that didn't say it was near St Pancras, in highlighting that, that one was closest. So I made a mistake in that way. I booked the wrong one. But nevertheless, I still had a great time. But the travel lodge was disappointing, because I had no hairdryer. Luckily, I'd bought a travel hairdryer, because my intuition said, oh, what if there's no hairdryer in the room? And I thought there's bound to be a hairdryer, because that's standard at all hotels these days usually. And travel lodges especially, you're spending a lot more money, you expect there to be a hairdryer. But when I got there, luckily I'd packed the travel hairdryer I bought, because I have intuition. Something just told me buy that, and it's good to have a spare at home anyway, because the hairdryer I currently use has already packed up once and then came back to life after quite a while. It's weird, but it happened. And it works fine now for now anyway, but I need a spare just in case anything happens to that one, otherwise we're going around with wet hair. So anyway, so anyway, I got to the hotel and there was no hairdryer in the room. I might have been able to ask for one, but for £219.99, you would £219.99, you would expect a hairdryer to be in the room. The drawer, it seemed, at the desk was a false one. You couldn't open it. The wardrobe just had hangers in it and 2 pillows. There was nothing in there. There was nothing, no hairdryer. It's ridiculous. So it's a good job I took my own hairdryer with me. And a good job I bought it, because it was a new one. So anyway, that was very disappointing, but it took 2 hours to get to this hotel because I got disabilities, and I found it really hard to pull the case even, and it was wobbling and going everywhere, and I tried to get some help at the station, at Waterloo Station, but I wanted to go to the toilet, and I couldn't get to the toilet because they shut the toilets because of the parade inside and the crowds inside the Waterloo Station. So anyway, I said to this guy in the end, who was a member of staff, "Look, I'm gonna have to go," because he said to me to go to Vauxhall, and he gave me a free ticket to go to Vauxhall, like a complimentary one, because he said there's a lift there, and I bet with my luggage, it's only like one tube to catch, and it should be a lot easier to get to my hotel. But I needed the toilet, and I could not wait. And so what happened was I got some help, which if you've got disabilities, special needs, anxiety condition, it's really important that you do ask for help when you need it. Don't be afraid to do that because, otherwise you're holding yourself back and it's causing more anguish and anxiety. So get help as much as possible. So I asked his member of staff, and then in the end, he decided to let me go on a toilet in a stationary train, a train that was not moving, in other words. But I had to leave my luggage with him, which was a big case and hold all. And I only had 20 minutes to get on the train, go to the toilet, get off the train before it started moving again. And so I went to the toilet, but it was really awful because I couldn't find the button that I was trying to press to close the doors, wouldn't close the doors. And I couldn't find the button to close the doors. And so I had to go on the toilet, leaving the door open. But it was a stationary train, no one was in it. But then these guards walked past because they were doing the coronation parade. They walked through Waterloo and walked past the train. Luckily, they were the other side of the train. I just saw them through the window, and they were really looking ahead of them because they were trained to look ahead and not look to the side, I'm guessing. So these guards were going past, marching past in their red and black suits. It's quite funny, really, but it's not. But it is. But it's not. But they were marching past, and I was sat on the toilet with the door open. This is really bad and personal, I'm telling you. It's quite funny, but it's not. But luckily, they were over the other side of the train, so it'd be quite a huge distance for them to even notice me. And they were all looking straight ahead. And I was trying not to let them see anything. I'm like, oh my God, this is just crazy. Absolutely crazy. But when you've got disabilities and you really need the toilet, you have to go because you can't hold it sometimes, and it's not good. And so, yeah, so I'm like, oh my God, this is really weird. So anyway, I managed to find another set of buttons over the other side and close the door. So I closed the doors, and not many people went past in that time. Luckily, they were over the other side anyway and couldn't really see me. And they didn't notice me by the look of it from what I saw. So that was good. So I finally found this door that button that worked to lock it. I locked it, and then I couldn't get out of it. It pressed the button to unlock, and it just wouldn't unlock for ages. Well, I say for ages. It was probably I don't know, half a minute or a minute. I don't know, but I was panicking because obviously I was thinking I don't want to be stuck in there. There's no one on the whole of the train. I need to get to my luggage. Without my luggage, I can't even get to Disneyland Paris the day after. I didn't want the train to go with me in it, and my stuff be with the member of staff. It was just been awful. So I was really panicking, trying to press a button. Then I pressed the intercom that said, ring the manager for help or something. So I pressed that and started talking, and then I managed to get the doors open. So I said, "It's all right now, it's all right." But there was no voice there, no one actually responding. Because I thought because it's stationary, maybe the doors, when they lock, they can't get them open because they're stationary. It's like a safety protocol. So I was really worried. Anyway, I managed to get out, and I told the guy who was member of staff who's waiting with my case and hold all that I couldn't get out of it, but I did. And he's like, "What did you do?" And I said that I left I pressed the emergency, contact the manager button, and said that I've been able to get out now. But I said, someone might be looking for, and this of alarm in there. So yeah, I'm going to the doctor about my chest tomorrow. Sorry about the coughing. So yeah. So this was very anxiety inducing, as you can imagine, because it's I didn't want to have to go to the toilet in the station. I really didn't, but I was so desperate to go that I couldn't hold it any longer. Then I had to go on a train and be up against the time. Then I couldn't find out how to close the door. The usual buzzer didn't seem to work. And then I managed to find out and I couldn't unlock it. Absolutely anxiety induced by this time. And then I get given a free ticket by this guy, complimentary one, because I told him I got disabilities. And I got my disability rail card on me to prove that if you needed to see it. So when you've got disabilities, if you've got disability rail card, which I highly recommend you do, then make sure you take that around everywhere with you so you can show people that you have got disabilities, because you have to be on disability benefits in all certain disability benefits in order to get one of those cards in the first place. You also have to have like photographic ID on you usually as well, to back up in case people query stuff and things like that. So, and also always take with you your, if you've got if you're mask exempt, then take your lanyard with you in case you need it as well. So anyway, with this guy, he said to go to Vauxhall. He gave me this free single ticket. So I went all the way to Vauxhall because he said it'd be easier for you. Just get in the lift, go up, go on the tube, pretty much straight to the hotel, well, to Waterloo to go to your hotel, and that'll be fine. I got all the way to Vauxhall, and when I got off the train, I wanted help with my luggage. One of the guys was like, "Oh no, we can't do that. We're not insured if we hurt ourselves." But then he did take me to the lift with it. And then I went down in the lift and tried to get some help from another member of staff. And as I did so, it said that a particular tube line was suspended. And that was it, basically, until further notice. That was the only tube line at Vauxhall. So I then had to get the woman to get permission to allow me to go back on the train, because he'd only given me a single ticket, to go back to Waterloo, to go down the tubes. After all, he was trying to save me from going on the tubes because my luggage was so big. So that's why he sent me to Vauxhall, because he thought it would be easier for me. But clearly it got suspended and it was no good. So make sure that when you're on your own, you are expressing yourself correctly and letting members of staff know that you have difficulties, whether that's anxiety, special needs, disabilities, whether unseen or not. It's really important if you've got unseen disabilities, because fibromyalgia is an unseen disability, that you do actually state that it's unseen, because people don't know. If they can't see something, they don't know that you're in pain or that, you've got any conditions unless you tell them, right? And it's better to tell them than them just thinking you're weirdo and not understand what your behavior or what's happening with you. So anyway, after going all the way back to Vauxhall, I get on the tube, and then by the time I get to hotel, it's like 2 hours later from when I expected to get there, basically. And so, yeah, so I stay the night, and I do go out and I see this beautiful light exhibition because I have to get food. So I have a favourite restaurant because I've got health needs. So I've got special diet requirements, but there's one beautiful restaurant in London called East Street. That's the name of the actual restaurant. And it's a Thai food place. And the staff remember it every time I go, even if I haven't been for years. And they always cook delicious food on the premises, change the ingredients somewhat for me. And I have pad Thai, but with it changed for my diet requirements. They always remember me because I stand out, they say, because I've got special diet requirements. So if you've got an anxiety condition, it can be very good to go back to familiar places you've got good service, because you know what you get and it lowers your anxiety then. And it just means you're better looked after because people understand your needs better, right? So you have to keep explaining to new people all the time. So it doesn't mean to say you can't try new places, but if you want something quick, fast, less time consuming, then go to what you know rather than what you don't know. So that I did go out to get something to eat and at a favourite Thai restaurant, and I saw an exhibition bang opposite, which was a light exhibition. So that was really good. And I dressed up for myself. So you can still dress up for yourself, make yourself feel good, make yourself feel worthy because you are worthy. And, treat yourself with kindness, lovingness, and be attracted to yourself and enjoy yourself. So anyway, it was an anxiety-inducing time getting to the hotel. It took me absolutely friggin' ages. I did get an actual taxi to the hotel in the end from the train station. So when I went back to Waterloo, and then I got a tube to King's Cross. I then got a black cab from King's Cross to the hotel because I'd absolutely had enough by that point of dragging my case around. When I was in Exeter in the morning that day, I'd actually dragged my case from up 3 flights of stairs where I lived, all the way down the stairs, and then dragged it to the train station. I nearly missed the train. Well, I say I nearly missed the train. I didn't nearly miss the train, but I was panicking that I was going to miss the train. I had like 7 minutes left in the end, but it was awful. So I'd highly recommend booking a taxi way in advance, like the previous day or 2 days before, so that you don't have to panic and carry heavy things that are very bad for you, that hurt you, that make you distraught and panicky. So always safeguard yourself, and it's worth paying money to have peace of mind. So if I went again, I'd definitely get a taxi to the train station to London in the first place, you know? That's something I've learned. So always reflect on your holiday afterwards to find out what went well, what didn't go well, what you could improve on, what you want to do better next time, what would be helpful next time, you know? So you're learning as you go and you can develop and adapt the process next time to work better for you when you go on holiday. You have to understand, though, that you're going to be in kind of distress and pain if you've got anxiety condition and disabilities. And it's only when the gain of where you're going is greater than the pain you're experiencing that you'll feel the pain is worth experiencing to have that experience, if you know what I mean. So anyway, the next day was a nightmare because I got given 2 phone numbers by Travelodge for their local taxi companies. But they were like really expensive private car hires. They weren't the main taxi company. And when I phoned them, one company wanted to charge me £20 just to go down the road to the station because they were trying to rip me off because I got a big case, basically. And then the other taxi company refused to do it anyway. So in the end, I had to hail a black cab down. That was really anxiety inducing. I had to start off. My Eurostar was due to leave at 10:34, and I didn't get out of the hotel till 9 a.m. You're meant to be there an hour and a half before I do, or an hour before the least, you know, and they like at 90 minutes. Everyone starts boarding at 30 minutes too. You know, before the plane, before Eurostar takes off. So, because I went by Eurostar because I'm afraid of flying. So, it was a real nightmare. So, I actually went down partway down to the city towards King's Cross by myself, and then I managed to see this black cab and hail him down. But it was very difficult and anxiety inducing because I didn't know if I was going to make it to the St Pancras because I got quite a big walk with the case. Because when you're walking with a heavy case, it just like slows you down. So I would always suggest trying to get taxis beforehand if you can. Try and get the local numbers of taxi stations, or try and add more time onto what you're doing so that you're more prepared, like get up earlier, this type of thing. So anyway, the guy was very good. Going to London St Pancras train station, which has got Eurostar there, so I could get I should say Eurostar station. It's St Pancras. King's Cross is like a tube station, and it's a Eurostar station, which is basically a railway station, to go to Europe. So I managed to catch it fine. And then I had to deal with a big case and I had to move it everywhere. Customs was an absolute frigging nightmare because I had to get my case on the conveyor belt. So I had to ask for help with that. And the guy said, I can't help you. I'm trying to press a button for the conveyor belt. So you need to ask someone else. So I had to ask the guy in the next row if he'd help me. So again, never be afraid to ask people for help. If you need it, you need it. Just say, I've got disabilities. Can you help me with this? You know, because I can't lift it. You know, I'm not meant to do heavy lifting as it is. Even dragging the case is not good for me. It's like harmful, but it had to be done, you know? So anyway, this guy helped me. And then when I was in the actual queue, I had my passport that I had to get ready and my disability rail card next to that. My provisional driver's license next to that. And when I took my passport out, the provisional driver's license flicked on the floor. Well, I thought it flicked on the floor, and so did the disability rail card. But actually, the disability rail card I found and picked up, but I couldn't find my provisional driver's license. It's got my picture on and my ID. And then eventually I worked out that it had fallen, but it had fallen in my bag, not outside my bag. So it's already ready. So yeah, that was a panicky moment as well. So I had a lot of panicky moments. And then when I was waiting for the actual Eurostar, that was panicky, trying to get on, find out what platform it on. But I did have this nice couple of people helping me from what I remember. So again, never be afraid to get help, you know. And so then when I got to the park, I was in an anxiety-induced state, and I had to say to the guy that I am got an anxiety condition. He said, I can see that, because I was concerned that I was got my documentations in my case, but I got told by the travel agency I need to show that. So I said, how can I show that? They're like, oh, it's all right, you don't need it. So then when I arrived, they said you need to go. They took the luggage, but they said you need to take the luggage further down. And sorry, they took the luggage there, but further down they said you need to get your park ticket. So I had a letter, and this was in it for the park as well. And they said you don't have to check in till later to your hotel, or your luggage will be there later on, you know. So I was glad I bought the all-inclusive package, which included the shuttle bus and transportation of luggage. That was very important. So I'd highly recommend doing that as much as possible. So the anxiety-induced moments were getting to the actual train station, London St Pancras, and packing my case in time. It's had so much stuff. So one of the things that happened when I was, you know, trying to go from the Travelodge to the Eurostar on the Sunday morning, thinking I was going to be really late. And when I was packing, I just got so overwhelmed with how much I had to pack, because I've got skin condition. I have to have special lotion for my skin. I have to have certain foods for my breakfast I've got to take with me, as well as excessive changes of clothes, because I sweat a lot. So yeah, which is one of the symptoms of fibromyalgia. So I, you know, I got very anxiety induced, and I want to quickly talk you through what I did. So when I was in a panic, I was like, how am I going to get all this packed in my case? I was really feeling panicky. So I had to like parent myself and coach myself and talk myself through it. So when I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to start first, I was saying, Sandra, you're going to be okay. I'm here for you, you know? So I was like being a parent to myself, being a motivator to myself, a coach. And I was like, and the coach part of me was going, okay, can you just put the next one thing in your case? Can you just put that one thing in your case for me, please? So I do that, and it's like I let my voice speak to me again, saying, can you just do this next one thing? Can you just put this away next? What would be next? Excuse me. So I'm like coaching myself all the time as to what I'm doing. I'm coaching myself through the horrendous, panicky feeling I have in order to achieve what I need to get done. Because panicking doesn't help anyone. It actually slows you down from making progress. But you have to acknowledge you're in a panic state and do something about it. And that is having an inner voice talking to me, saying, you can do this, you know, come on, just one more item. Just pack one more item, or unpack one more item if it's a way back, you know. So coach yourself, parent yourself, and talk yourself through it like your best friend. Like, what would you do if you had your best friend with you? What would they be saying to you now? Do that. So I was literally saying, like, can you pack, like I said, the this one thing for me? And if you've seen Frozen 2, you'll know that Elsa dies in it, right? That's a huge spoiler. She doesn't die forever, but Anna thinks she's dead forever. And she's so upset and grieving. And then she comes up with this song, and it's all about doing the next one right, best thing to do. And so that's what I advise you to do. If you're in a panic, you know, just believe in yourself. Go, you are going to get through this. You're going to be fine. But just coach yourself and say, can you just pack this one thing for me? And can you pack this next for me, please? And can you pack? And because you're talking yourself into doing the thing that you're actually resisting doing, but you need to get done, you know? So that's very important, to be your own coach, be your own parent to yourself. And so when I actually got to Disneyland Paris, after I'd given my luggage in, then I could relax. And so then I was a lot less anxiety juice, really, really happy to be in Disneyland Paris. And it was amazing. Obviously, getting off Eurostar was like, again, a bit panicky, because like I need to make sure I take everything with me, not left anything behind. So then I had the actual time in Disneyland Paris, and I didn't know I could get a disability pass until someone mentioned on the first day you can go to City Hall and get a pass. Now I couldn't find City Hall. I didn't come across it. I didn't go out of my way to spend hours looking at it. I was just looking out for it while I was there. There was nowhere in sight, and that's because I was in Walt Disney Studios, which is part of Disneyland Paris. And so it wasn't until the next day when I went to the Disneyland Paris it's Disneyland Paris park part itself, that I actually found the City Hall, but it wasn't until much later on the second day. And then I have to proof of ID of my disability benefits. It wasn't enough to have my rail card. It had to be official, legal government document. So I showed them that on my phone. Luckily, I had it on my phone. And they gave me one of these passes. But I actually lost it on the second night because I was watching the drone show and I was like flicking, trying to get my phone. Because I was filming it for this channel, but I was trying to get my phone to go right and it wouldn't rotate, which looked really naff, but it looked better actually after I watched it back, but it felt naff doing it that way. But anyway, so I lost the card that they created for me that night, and then I got this new one. So this is a disability priority access card, and this was much better because I have toilet issues. Like every time I go and ride, usually I need a toilet after one ride. I have to queue up for one ride and going on it, and that's very time consuming. Especially if you have to queue up for like 45 minutes at a time, like some of the rides were 50 minutes. But if you've got a disability rail card and you've got, I shouldn't say disability rail card because that didn't make any difference to get this, but if you've got a disabled pass for Euro Disney, you can actually take people who care for you, can actually take them with you on the rides or to the attractions. So that's really useful information. And I had to sign a form the second time round, but when I lost it, I just had to go through the whole process again. So you can get another one of these, but this is really, really good. It gave me quick access to a lot of rides, which I didn't have quick access to before, which is very good because if I've got toilet needs like I have, I go in a queue. If I'm queuing for 45 minutes before going on the ride, that ride can be quite painful, but if I'm going to the toilet after every ride and then having my disabled card to get me in quicker, it kind of balances out the fact that I have gone to the toilet a lot, and so I haven't been able to take advantage of the park like I should have done yet. So anyway, I spent 4 days, and then on the last day, it was anxiety inducing again because I had to go back, and they recommend like at least 2 hours. That's what they say on Eurostar. When you come back, like make sure you leave the park and you're on Eurostar. Well, sorry, you're waiting to go through the customs for Eurostar, I should say, by X amount of time. And I kind of changed in Disneyland Paris because I had a lot of time to reflect and stuff. And so I basically decided things that I wanted to do when I was back in the UK. But going to the toilet a lot is a huge problem. So I used this disability rail pass to get disability rail pass. Sorry, I keep calling it a rail pass. Disability card for the park. I used that to actually get in disabled toilets quicker because some other people were trying to use a disabled toilet. I don't think they got disabilities, and get on the rails quicker. But also by Eurostar because I didn't leave the actual place till like 4:36, and there was a parade on then. So by the time I actually got to Eurostar, it was a few minutes to 5, and it was leaving at 6:02. You're supposed to have at least usually 2 hours before they tell you, or at least an hour minimum before. By the time I got into the toilet, it was gone 5 o'clock, and the tube was meant to leave at 6 something, but it didn't. So yeah. Did I say the tube? Eurostar, I meant. Eurostar was supposed to leave at 6:02, but I didn't get actually there till gone 5 o'clock. So when you get off Eurostar, they recommend 2 hours. Be 2 hours early for going through customs on your last day. When you get to actually speak to the staff, though, they say you just need an hour. But by the time I got to the toilet, that wasn't easy either because I had to go to the toilet in the Eurostar station. I went up and then he was going to charge me for the toilet. So I had to say to him, look, I've got disabilities. Is there another toilet I can use? And then he just let me go in for free. So that was good. So remember to say that. And so this was on another flight of stairs though. And so I was panicking because it was gone 6 o'clock. And you're supposed to be there, like, waiting at customs, ready to, like, board as soon as possible. And I hadn't even gone through customs yet. So anyway, when I went to the toilet, they were going to charge me, but I said that I got disabilities. I showed them this and they let me in for free. And so that was better. And then I had to go right down the flight of stairs again to collect the luggage before I boarded Eurostar. But I was, like, going to be the last in queue. So I showed this, like, person who was a member of staff for the Eurostar section. I showed them this and so I've got disabilities, and they made me a priority. So basically they pushed me in front of lots of people, but it wasn't pushing in because it's just I have priority as a disabled person, and they put me in front of the people so I could just go through customs a lot quicker. And they did that quite a bit in that time, so I was able to go through much quicker. I was happy about it. I actually cut my finger open, but I'd taken plasters with me in my bag, so I just plastered it up. But I thought I'd lost my passport at one time, and which is, I think, might be how I damaged my finger and got it cut. But basically, the passport I thought I'd lost, but I hadn't. I just put it inside my bag in a different place, and I went back to find it, but luckily I found it there. So then I had to go and, I had to go and board the Eurostar when I went to Disneyland Paris, and coming back, I boarded it a lot later than I should have done. Looking back on it, I probably wouldn't have spent quite as long in the park, and I would have got out sooner because it was very anxiety-inducing. It was only because they pushed me in front, basically, put me to the front of the queue because I was a private with disabilities. I managed to be calm because, I was being given priority, and I got help going in the lift to the actual what zone it was and whereabouts the Eurostar was that I needed, because I asked someone. So always ask, never be afraid to ask. And then coach yourself. When I had to leave Disneyland Paris on the last day to pack, I was like coaching myself, going, come on, Sandra, you can do this, you're gonna be fine. I was like panicking, like, oh my god, how am I gonna get all this packed? I'm like, you can do this. So positive self-talk is really, really important. And then when I came back to London, I booked a hotel near Paddington train station. It actually was near, thank God. So I was able to stay there. So I'd already pre-booked that and paid for it. So that was very good. It was right near the train station. It was quite noisy though, and it was very small. My case was wedged between the base of the foot of the bed and the actual wall. So it wasn't ideal. I had to climb over the bed just to get anything. But yes, it's very important to reflect on these things, reflect on your holiday, and see how much of these type of things you do to help yourself, how much hinder yourself, and make a plan to change for the better so that you can enjoy your holiday even more next time. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you for now. I'm getting very sleepy, as you can probably tell. And don't forget, to coach yourself, be your best friend, be a parent to yourself, love yourself implicitly. I'll see you soon on the next live stream. I hope you got some value from this. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never ever miss an episode. Lots of love. Bye.